Everybody, there's a lorry load of interesting cheeses.
Hello, so I thought I'd make a new sort of video, and it's mainly going to be for the subscribers and the people more loyal to the channel that want to know more about me and want to know more about the channel in general. So I've previously done quite a few guides, but I thought it might be fun to do a few sort of opinion pieces just for the guys that like the channel, and thank you to those guys. I'm not sure why you like the channel, but it's all good. So this video is mainly for like background audio, like serious background audio, because my voice, let's face it, is not that engaging. Also, these videos are good for me because I'm allowed to speak and no one can tell me to just get back in my cage like in real life. So in these videos the plan is to just cover a bit of news and a bit about what I've been up to inside and outside of WoW. So let's just get straight into the news. So this week it's all about getting excited for Legion, because I am. And the news is it's coming out tonight. And it's going to be out at 11 in my country, so let's talk about that. So I'm pretty excited for Legion, and I think one of the main reasons is because Warlords was just so bad, so Legion just looks good by comparison. And one of the main things that made it bad, that everyone hated, was the garrisons, which have always got a lot of negativity. I think maybe for the first 10 minutes of Warlords, people maybe thought it was okay, and then everyone realised it was just sort of a Facebook click and accept type game. And then once everyone realised it was so bad, everyone was talking to each other about how bad it was, and it just escalated from there, and everyone just remembers it as such a terrible feature. I think what made it worse was the developer communication. They just seemed to stop communicating, and then when they did, it was just highly produced content where they'd sit there with some woman that they'd hired that knew nothing about WoW, and they gave her the questions to ask, and they were questions that nobody even cared about. It was just questions like, how did you make the game so immersive and things, when people are actually worried about, you know, the fact that they put a selfie camera in and it had taken 6 months to develop. I still think something went really wrong with that expansion that we haven't really been told anything about. So must be some sort of internal issue at Blizzard. Maybe a key member of staff left that they weren't expecting to leave, or that I heard something about new staff being hired and then they maybe had to be trained, and that took up a lot of time. They have said that they had to reiterate on a lot of the features in there and they were too ambitious, so maybe they just operationally they just went really wrong. I think the developer communication is improving loads though. I mean, Ian Hazakostas, his interviews at Gamescom recently have been great. You know, he's answering real questions that are asked by real people, and there's no censor in there. He's just answering them off the cuff. Yeah, so there's a lot of buzz around the expansion, and it's really nice to see. I was watching Towley earlier today, and he seems really excited about the expansion, and I watched a lot of Bellula on YouTube and a lot of podcasts, and it's nice to see everyone so enthusiastic again about the game, and it's made me like that. I think all the excitement about the new expansion, it just shows that these MMOs like World of Warcraft, like and the genre as a whole, it's a permanent thing. You know, it's here to stay, because a lot of people speculate, you know, whether the MMO is a dying genre and things. And I just think, at least for me, it's something that I always come back to. People like to talk about MMO players like locusts, and I think that's quite true. We swarm to different types of, well, different games. We get like devour the content and then move on, but at least we know where the trees are that we like. Do locusts eat trees? I don't know, but we always come back to the same spots, and if they keep developing the content, we just keep coming back for more. It's always good with an MMO as well when there's more hype around it, because you know that if the servers are more populated, it's more fun to play because there's just a load of people swarming around everywhere, and for some reason running around with a massive crowd of people is just more fun. I don't know why, but it's like you're running a race where no one has a clue where the finish line is, but someone shouted go and you're all just like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Legion, just have a general rant about how much I'm looking forward to the Legion expansion. So in terms of what I've been up to recently, I've recently went to the gaming festival in the UK called I58, which is, I think it's the UK's biggest gaming festival, and it's like a convention but a festival because they let people sleep over, I think. So I think basically when it first started it was really small scale, because nobody in the UK did games and nobody wanted to talk about it because everyone's a bit ashamed of being a gamer. And now it's just this massive thing in the middle of the country. Everyone, it seems like all types of people go. There's families, and there was a lot of smelly, overweight people, but there were families as well, and there was me, and I'm not yet classed as obese, so that's good. So they had a few famous UK YouTubers, and I think the most famous one was Syndicate, and I had this whole sort of debate in my head about whether I should get like an autograph from him, because, you know, he's famous and everything, and I watch his videos every now and then. But the problem was, you know, he's like 5-6 years younger than me, and you know, his work, it's not exactly, you know, it's not, well, it's just blank content. You know, he just sort of speaks into a phone, and just walks around. So, you know, I don't know whether that warrants an autograph. But then I was thinking, you know, well, he's like a rare Pokemon. You know, you don't see one of them off. You don't see a Syndicate walking around often, so maybe you should get one. But in the end, I decided, no, he's not really like a role model. I just like to watch his videos every now and then, so I didn't queue for 2 hours to go get a signature. Although, you know, if he ever listens to this, love your work. You are a role model. Also at I58 there was a lot of cool gaming gear that I can never afford. The thing that I was excited about was Terps was there from the Yogscast, and for those of you who don't know, he's from a podcast called The Instance, which is like the most famous WoW podcast there is. So I definitely did want an autograph from Terps because I've been listening to The Instance for a long time now. So, you know, I just got in the queue, and but I was quite nervous for some reason, just around famous people. I don't know if it's just me, but, you know, my heart was like racing because I'm thinking, when I get up there, what if it's like really awkward and he's like, oh, why does he want a signature? I don't know, I just got nervous. So when I get nervous, I just plan things out so it somehow combats the nervousness. So in my head, I'd planned to go up to him and say, hey, you know, it's good to meet you, would you mind signing this? And then maybe, you know, if there was a bit of an awkward silence, I'd go, hey, you excited for Legion? So that was my whole line. So the way it actually happened was I went up to him and forgot everything that I was going to say and just said, hey, I love The Instance. And he just, for some reason, he got up and gave me a hug. Like, he actually gave me a hug and said, 48 hours, man, you know, talking about Legion. And he was just really excited. I think maybe the other people on the Yogscast table were really popular. I'm probably supposed to know them, but I didn't. And I think he just seemed quite happy to give the signature, so I was really happy. Anyway, so that was I58. So in terms of what I've been doing in game, I've been just getting through some of my ults through the Broken Shore questline. I've also been gearing a few of the ults up using the Legion invasions, but there's only so much of that you can do, so I'm just waiting for Legion really, which is about 3 hours away from when I'm recording this voiceover for the video. So I've decided I'm going to be maining Mage, I think, for the expansion, and I think it's just because in the last expansion I was mainly melee and it really sucks standing under the boss's asshole for most of the fight, so I just thought I'd give being a caster a try again. He's been my main in the past as well, so it sort of makes sense, and they've got a lot of, well, they're just fun to play, I think, so looking forward to giving that a go. One thing that was bugging me about getting back into the expansion was all the crap that I had in my bags, and I was stressing about having to sell it all on the auction house and how long it'd take me. It's just basically WoW admin time. So instead I just decided to sell it, like vendor it all and just chuck it, because I just really can't be bothered with all that. So, but it does feel a lot, it feels very cleansing having done it now. So when the expansion actually starts, I think I'm going to opt for more of a casual strategy, just so I don't fall to pieces from playing it too much and then just not being able to go to work. So I'm just going to try and get fully into the game, so when I'm playing I'm just going to be sort of full immersion mode with like headphones, no distraction, trying as much as I can to actually read the quest text, but I get very easily bored of reading the quest text, but I know from past experience that it's worth it. Just see my lore guides, and yeah, I'm just going to try and enjoy it and just treat it as sort of pure escapism. I'm actually really looking forward to the first weekend after the release date, because I know, I remember from past expansions, you'd come home from work and maybe you get 3 hours in and it just never feels enough. You're always chucked out of the game at a point when you maybe mid-quest, or you think, oh, I could just get to that level. So I'm looking forward to the weekend when I can just fully burn out on the game, but in a good way. So yeah, they're my sort of loose plans, and I hope everyone watching is as excited about Legion as I am, and I hope that you have a good time, you know, when it first comes out. I also wanted to talk about the channel a bit for those of you who are still listening. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight into what's been happening and what's gonna happen. So basically there was a long gap in video uploads, which was because, you know, I work 9 till 5, and outside of that I was studying for this thing called the Diploma in Financial Planning, which I've now managed to get, which just involved quite a lot of exams and pretty intense studying. So I think that diploma has been worth it because, you know, it leads to higher pay, but ultimately I want to channel all that back into the channel and into gaming, because that's what I enjoy doing and it's my passion. So hopefully I'll have a lot more time to do that. Yeah, so I'd say about 95% of that passion is for WoW, and it has been for a long time, you know, since I was in school, and so that's why a lot of this channel is always going to be about WoW. But there's also going to be videos about other stuff, and I'm just warning you now because, well, I'm going to do it on other stuff because it's not fun just playing one game, especially when there's, you know, long content droughts like there has been in the past. So in terms of how much content I'm going to be producing, I'm aiming for 1 video a week. And the reason for that is because it usually takes most of the weekend to make a video, and during the week I rarely have time to actually dedicate to making the videos just because of life. So basically when I do have free time I like to spend it on videos, and that usually results in 1 video a week. I do try and go for quality over quantity, so hopefully that'll show in the videos as well. So as far as what's coming up, I've got a massive list of ideas and I'm just going to work through the list and keep adding to it. Broadly I'm going to try and cover newly released information. I'm going to do guides, but in the way I like to do them, which is usually quite short and to the point, and, you know, with a little spin on it as well. I'm also going to try and start with these update videos, and these are designed mainly for the, you know, more loyal subscribers and people who are actually interested in the stuff I have to say, and that's fine if you don't. These videos maybe just aren't for you. So yeah, through these videos I'm hoping to build maybe a bit of a community, and it should make this channel feel a bit more like home and have a bit of uniqueness to it, I think. And also, you know, you can be all cool and alternative by listening to it because it's a new channel. Anyway, so I hope you like this little check-in thingy. Hopefully it's the start of a new line of videos, and thanks very much for watching. And as always, if you fancy it, just like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.